So for many years, I would think of him and imagine him and dream about him holding my hand as we walk down the path. And this poem reflects my thoughts on my father. Now, Herman Melville, have you heard of him? He wrote a book about a whale. It was quite famous. Do you know the name of it?
Oh, we did.
That's right. He wrote about me in the forward of that book, and he quotes my poem here, The Drowned Mariner, in that book in 1851 own terms. He talked about broad-mindedness, wisdom, social justice, equality, beauty, and forgiveness, and my heart found a nest with him. He praised me more than my other grandfather. When I would go up to his room, to his house, up in his attic, there were all things that he had gathered from different times at sea. He would have all kinds of chests full of rare and beautiful china, and in the attic there were long rows of tea chest jars of preserved china. So these men learned the common opinions of the common man through Seba Smith's writing. Mark Twain was influenced by Seba Smith. You may have read one of his works, Huckleberry Finn was one, but he was a political humor writer, and so he was highly influenced by Seba Smith. My children, so only some of them lived to adulthood. Benjamin died as a baby. Roland died as a little boy of 6. He burnt himself and developed an infection as a result of the burn. And back then we didn't have the ability to treat infections as simple as that. Then we have Appleton Oak Smith, who you probably have heard much about. I had all boys, Sidney Oak Smith, Alvin, and Edward. I don't have a picture of Edward anymore. As time went on, especially in the early 1900s, I was a cook. I was a teacher, unless I got married, then I couldn't be a teacher anymore. I was a nanny. I assisted men. I was considered delicate, physically weak, intellectually weaker, good at nurturing roles, which I believe is true, gifted in emotions of sympathy and kindness. So that's like pretty good. But some of it limits me. I could have been a seamstress, in times in the early 1900s, factory worker, housekeeper. I was dependent on the breadwinner. So my circle is small, but the public sphere circle is around that and wider. This is where men can step out. They're physically stronger, higher thinkers, more rational than women. Stuff, some of it is primary resources, and that means they are original. So this book is the original that this poem is in, and this is from 1852. You can see in this story, in this poem, you've got this girl named Eva who's the protagonist. She's resisting conformity to societal norms. Eva becomes one with nature. She loves to wander in the woods. Sounds familiar, right? Eva's the daughter of a widowed mother who remarries. That was also Elizabeth Oak Smith's situation. By being true to herself, Eva's able to care for her mother and a young man who've both been corrupted by society. Lives are changed by Eva's influence. But alas, Eva is pure goodness and does not fit in with the material world. And so, like the Billy Joel song, you know, she dies young.